Blog Talk Radio.
What's going on, folks? It's your boy, Long Beach Joe, and we are back at it. We're back at it. You know what I'm saying? Jets got an upcoming game here against the Patriots. Jets have got themselves some W's. We're going to see if it continues on. A lot of questions to be asked, especially with the performance of what we saw in the Sugar Bowl last night. Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, all of a sudden, that number 2 pick is more valuable than it was a couple weeks ago when we were talking about it. Everyone was upset that we didn't have that first pick. Everyone was upset that we had the second pick. They said, oh, it was useless. Not so useless anymore, folks. So listen, I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Listen, I'm the man of the people. I am here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. Love going back and forth with folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. So without further ado, folks, let's go ahead and get into the show. I am fired up. I'm fired up. Also, everyone, I'm on iTunes as well as various other platforms. Please go to my iTunes, The Long Beach Joe Show. Go there, give me a 5-star rating, comment on my iTunes profile. Let me know what you folks think about the show on there as well. Love going back and forth with folks. Also, my YouTube as well as Long Beach Joe Jets. Please go there, subscribe to my channel, turn on your notifications, thumbs up my videos, and leave me some comments. I love going back and forth with folks there too. So now it's time to talk about it, all right? I'm fired up today, folks. I'm telling you, I'm on something else. I'm on something. Yeah, I'm feeling good. We're going into a game against the Patriots where understand that the season has not gone the way that we all hoped that it would go. This has not been a great season. We've seen issues galore. We all know that we have quite a bit of things that we need to fix going into the offseason. But there's been some shining spots here and there, some bright spots, particularly with some young guys that we've had on this football team, guys like Mekhi Becton, Denzel Mims. So for me, going into this final game, I want to see these guys finish strong. I want to see these young guys go out there, get the football in their hands, and continue to show us that they can be building blocks. And so for me, going into this Patriots game, the first thing that I'm thinking and looking at is I want to see Sam Darnold finish this season strong. I know that some are ready to move on from him. I know that some still have questions about him, justifiably so. I know that some think that he could be the future, but there's other things out there that are, other quarterbacks out there, other options that we may have that are kind of wavering, having them waver on their takes, or maybe they're feeling they're being pulled in a certain direction. But I want to see Sam Darnold go out there and just look solid. Go out there, finish the season strong, throw some solid TDs, get some good yardage to really just end the season on a good note. That's what I want to see from Sam Darnold. I don't know if it'll go a long way with the way that, Joe Douglas plans to, go forward with this football team. I don't know if it'll necessarily change all of his, ideas of how to better this team, or if it'll turn him around, if he's already kind of decided to move on from Darnold. If Darnold has a strong performance, if that'll change, his position on Darnold, who knows? I doubt it, but I want to see Sam Darnold go out there and just play well. That's what I want to see. A couple other young guys as well on this team that I want to see go out there and play well, finally being given the opportunity. You look at this situation with our running backs. I like Ty Johnson. I really, really do. I like the combination of Ty Johnson and Josh Adams. And now with Frank Gore, he's out. We all know he's dealing with injuries. That's going to, conclude his season here. Salute to him. He gave us, what he had this season. But now it's time for the young guys to step up. Guys like Ty Johnson, again, guys like Josh Adams. Those two running backs, they come out and have a very solid game against a Patriots front that's banged up. The Patriots have quite a bit of injuries up front with Guy and Bentley and all those guys they have on the defensive front, even Byron Coward, all those guys. If they can go out there and put a very solid running game together and perform well, like we've seen Ty Johnson come out the backfield, catch the football. We've seen when he's been given the football that he shows a burst. If he continues to show that in these games, in this game, coming up, the final game of the season, I don't see why we can't put in, maybe this kid could possibly be maybe these two backs that we have here in Johnson and Adams, maybe they could possibly be the running back tandem of the future. That's something that we could be looking at. Because, again, the more questions that we answer in a rebuilding year, the more questions that we answer as this season starts to close out, the less positions that you have to fill with the draft capital that we have. We have so many needs, so many needs, across the board, offensive line, wide receiver. Do you even want to talk about the defense? Some people think we need, two corners. We need pass rushers. We need so much more. Do you really want to add running back to that list if these two guys can show that they can carry the load? So that's going to be huge coming up in this football game as well. I also look at our wide receiver position, and the first thing I think is you got to get the ball. You got to get the ball to Denzel Mims any way that you can, okay? I don't care if we give him 10, 11, 12 targets. I don't care. He needs a ton of catches in this game. I want to see this guy get the football in his hands. There should be a ridiculous effort to get Denzel Mims the football so that we can see more of what he can give us. This is a kid we are all excited about coming into the season. We know he missed a little bit of time because of injury, but ever since he's played, we've all been impressed. We've been impressed with his ability. We've been impressed with his catch radius. We've been impressed with the things that he's been doing out there, but we've also been upset. We've been angered by the lack of targets. We've been upset and angered by the lack of usage within the game plan. We've been upset with that. And that needs to change in this football game. It's the last game of the season. He needs to go out there and be given the football, especially when you look at the situation. Again, he's going up against the secondary. The Patriots that's a little bit banged up as well. We know Jackson's dealing with an injury. McCourty's dealing with an injury. All these guys, he should have his opportunities out there, and they should be given to him. Point blank, period. I want to see Mims with the football in his hands against the Patriots. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I need to see it. I know Crowder is probably going to get his catches as well. Looking to see him continue his thing in this season. Crowder has been one hell of a wide receiver for us this year. Absolutely. Coming out of that slot, he's really put on and really played well this season. Another guy that some people are talking about is Chris Herndon. I know that there's a lot of people that's looked at Chris Herndon, and they've said he's been very up and down. I've been one of those guys. I'm not in the Herndon hive. I'll tell you right now, I've been getting attacked on a weekly basis by those people. A weekly basis. I've had somebody that loves Chris Herndon hitting me up saying, Joe, give this guy a chance. Joe, I'm telling you, Chris Herndon, he's going to turn it around. I think look, Chris Herndon's got to show us something, all right? And I know he's made some plays, particularly in these past couple games, but he's got to continue to show that, man, because far too often he's a no-show, or he's injured and he's not playing, or he's dropping footballs, or he's fumbling. I need to see that. So he's a guy that definitely needs to close out this season with a strong performance. Because if it's up to me, his ass ain't going to be here. Not next year. No, sir. Not me. I'm not dealing with Chris Herndon. I'm not. I will also look to see our offensive line, step up as well in this football game. We all know we've had issues with protection throughout the season. Goodness gracious. There's been such a mishmash in the offensive line. So many guys playing, so many guys out. We've had issues with our guards, from Lewis to all these guys going in and out with Van Roten, being injured and all this just things going awry. I need to see our offensive line play well. One of the stout sticking points on our line that has played well, though, is Mekhi Becton. He's been out there. He's been a shining light, and that's a rookie guy. Again, another young guy putting on for us that we've been impressed with. That a guy that we looked at and we said, hey, we can move forward with this kid. This kid is somebody that we can continue to build around. He's going to be part of us pushing and changing the direction of this football team. So, outside of that, though, let me tell you, I need to see Connor McGovern, Pat Elfin, if he's the starter, George Fant. I need to see these guys step up and play well in this football game, too. Because, again, the Patriots are banged up. I'm not taking it. The Patriots are banged up. They are missing some guys, but they do have Chase Winovich is a guy that gets after it. Again, Simon's another guy to get after it. They have guys that can still bring the pressure. Absolutely can still bring the pressure. So we've got to make sure that Sam is properly protected in this football game. We must. I look at the defense as well. I got questions about the defense. Okay? I got big questions. Can our pass rush get to Cam Newton? Can we do that? If they start Cam, or whether it be Cam or sit him, can we continue that? Can we continue to get after these quarterbacks? Let me tell you something. Fatukasi, Basham, Nathan Shepard, those guys are bringing the heat. John Franklin Myers, last game they were bringing the heat. They're bringing the fire to everybody, okay? And they've had some games where they've set up in a row where, they've just been getting after it. Just been getting after it. And we've all said, wow, we're thoroughly impressed with these dudes. Now all we got to do is add an actual pass rusher, because a lot of these guys, again, they're solid players, but they're rotational guys. If we can add an actual pass rusher, a guy that can get us, 13, 14, 15 sacks a season, that just makes them even more dangerous. And yet again, this is without Quinnen Williams. This is without Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams on IR. They were able to push and make plays in the last game, too. Baker was running for his life. They caused turnovers, all kinds of things. So I want to see these guys continue the effort, continue the pressure, continue to show us that they're guys that we can move forward with, especially guys like Nathan Shepard, again, Fatukasi, all those guys. Neville Hewitt, the linebacking core, I think will be tested as well in this game against the Patriots, particularly with the backs coming out the backfield, with White and Sony Michel. So we got to be careful about that. I'm also concerned about our secondary too. Bless Austin's not going to be playing. He's out due to an illness. So you're going to have Lamar Jackson out there. You're going to have Bryce Hall out there. I want to see how these two young corners, handle this situation, especially Lamar Jackson. I want to see what he does out there as well. We've also waived Sam Ficken. We waived him. So we're looking at our kicker that we have brought in, McLaughlin. We're going to see what he gives us. Ficken, that guy was up and down with his kicks. So we'll see, what he brings to the table. So the Jets have a lot to be talking about going into this game against the Patriots. And we're also going to talk tonight about this number 2 pick too, because let me tell you something, that Sugar Bowl changed a lot of things around. It changed a lot. So we're going to get to the callers, man. We're going to get to these callers. Salute to everybody. I'm also going to talk to the Savages in the chat. Salute to everybody. If this is your first time watching me or listening to me, off of Blog Talk Radio. Also live stream during my show. So I call my chat the Savages. Why? Because they're savage. Nobody is safe out here. Not even me. Nobody's safe. They get after me. So, you in the chat, I'll definitely talk to you if you're talking to me. But I want to get to the callers, man. I got to get to these callers, a lot to talk about. I'm going to go to my guy, Elias, man. My guy, Elias, is on the line. Elias, how are you doing today, my friend? Happy New Year's to you. I want to thank you for calling into the show. First question I want to talk to you before we start talking about Fields and Lawrence. What are your thoughts about Sam Darnold going into this football game against the Patriots?
Yo, Joe, how you doing, man?
I'm all right. How are you, my friend?
Hey, man, not an issue. I don't know why I never bothered to correct this. My name's actually pronounced Elias. Elias, don't worry about it. Everyone gets it wrong.
Oh, my bad, Elias. I'm sorry.
No, I don't know why I never
bothered
to correct. I'm so used to it. No worries, man. I'm super used to it. But yeah, man. As much as it probably sucks to say Sam's a goner after this game. You can't go without taking a quarterback, especially with having a high pick like this. I like him, but man, Fields last night, and I'm a big Wilson guy too. Like, you don't know how I used to think, you could draft the quarterback next year, but you don't know whether you're going to be in position where you don't have to trade up for a quarterback. Like, man, I think Miami should draft a quarterback because they're not going to be drafting 3rd overall, and I'm not a big fan of their Tua, but anyways, but I feel like if you're that high, if you're high enough like that, I feel like you got to take the opportunity. And yeah, we give Sam the 32nd offense in the league, but he's been a part of the 32nd offense in the league, so he's definitely part of the problem too. I'm just ready to move on, and I don't know if and I'm seeing what Fields did last night. I'd be totally down rolling with him, but I like Sam. I want to move on with someone else.
Okay. Look, and I hear you, Elias, and I respect everybody's take, but when you say that Sam's part of the 32nd offense, he's part of the problem, I mean, aren't you just kind of blaming him for not being able to block for himself or catch the footballs that he throws? Don't you think that's kind of tough to say? Go ahead. No,
but he's definitely it's definitely some of it is on him though. You can't just say, with a better supporting cast, he'd be the best quarterback in the league. There's times where he has wide open receivers and he doesn't see them or he misses them, or he has a clean pocket and he still, makes dumb errors or something. So, I get what you're saying. He can't block for himself, he can't catch the ball for himself. That would be interesting to see, someone do that. But no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. But even sticking with, because again, you immediately want to talk about, the Fields and Lawrence stuff, and I hear you. I want to go there as well, and I understand, you looking at Fields and the performance that he put on, especially with him, the grit that he showed, the fact that he got hit in the ribs, he comes right back out with which some people even think his ribs are broken. He can barely breathe. He goes back out and just throws strikes. Doesn't let any of that affect him, and he put on a national platform, he's showing, hey, I got the toughness. Nothing's going to stop me. Nothing's going to hurt me. Now, I understand that you want to move on from Sam and you want Fields, but if the right team comes with a big-time haul for the number 2 pick, are you passing that up? If a team comes to you and says, hey, we're willing to offer 2 first-round picks plus some more, are you willing to move away from that to take Fields?
Oh, for sure. Like, I'm saying that. Like, I'll take Wilson with 2 first-round picks. Hell, I'll roll with Sam with 2 first-round picks. Like, 2 first-round picks that's a haul. So you're saying the pick this year and the pick next year? Yeah, I would do that. But
okay, so 2 first-round picks plus, a little bit more will move you off of your stance of moving away from Sam Darnold.
It depends how far back I'm going, too. Like, this is how I think about it, too. Like, so it looks like Miami's got the 3rd pick. They're probably going to take Sewell. So if you move back to 4, let's say I think Atlanta has 4. They come up to 2. They take Fields. You move back to 4 and get Zach Wilson plus, another first-round pick. I would do that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And where is Zach Wilson on your ranking of the quarterbacks? Because I know some people had him at number 2 before this game at the Sugar Bowl with Fields. Some people were saying, we love Wilson. The Jets should take Wilson at 2. Do you now have Fields above him? Where do you have, Wilson on your board?
Yeah, man, I commented on your Instagram post earlier, I'm pretty sure. Honestly, I'm not a draft analyst. I'm not like a football guy. I kind of go off different physical traits I see and kind of articles, videos, reports. I honestly have them tied, man. I see a ton of good traits with both of them. I see good pocket presence, great arms, good raw physical traits. So I honestly have a tie. I would be fine with either of them. So they just kind of have. Mm-hmm. For me, I have Lawrence ahead of them just because he's better at a lot of areas than them. But I like both of them a lot. I'd be totally fine with both of them.
Okay. Now to kind of move on from that a little bit, because I want to get back into this game just slightly a bit, with the Patriots. When you look at the situation with our running backs, I'm very, intrigued to see what Ty Johnson and Josh Adams are going to give us in this football game, because I think that these 2 guys could be the back tandem of the future for us. What are your thoughts about them, and what are your thoughts about, them having a solid performance? What do you think that it could do for them, going forward as far as sticking and being a part of the future of this football team?
Yeah, man, I really want to see Josh Adams get more playing because he hasn't really gotten much, but he's shown flashes throughout his career. I know he had a good little stretch with the Eagles a few years ago, and I know kind of came over. He's a Douglas guy, but yeah, I'm interested to see him. If you're carrying around 4, if you're carrying a 4 running back, on your 53, some of them play on special teams. You can keep these 2 guys in P. Ryan, either draft, running back in maybe the 3rd round. I'm not, crazy about taking one in the 2nd or the 1st. Or you sign a cheap running back, I don't know if you're familiar with him, Jamal Williams from the Packers. I'm not signing Aaron Jones or someone who's going to cost a ton of money. Despite how good he is, the Bell. I know Bell wasn't utilized well, but it was still a disaster. And even seeing him with the Chiefs now, he hasn't been unbelievable. He's just kind of his speed isn't where it used to be, but. I'd take, sign a cheap running back or draft one in the 3rd or 4th round and then just kind of have a rotation. So, yeah, I'm interested to see what Josh Adams and Ty Johnson, worst case, you keep one of them on a practice squad, something like that. But, yeah, hopefully then we don't have to, allocate too much resources to running back. Like I said, I don't want to spend a first-round pick on a running back. I think that's a waste, especially where our team is at right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, I definitely wouldn't spend a first rounder on them, but I definitely think, if more answers that we have for positions on the football team, like you said, the less capital that we have to spend on those issues to continue to fix them. Now going over to the defensive side, I look at the situation, man, and I'm saying the Jets defensive front, Fado Kasi, Nathan Shepard, these guys have shown, Basham has shown, that they can push the pocket, that these guys can get after. We saw them completely get after Baker Mayfield, cause him, fumbles, all kinds of things. Do you think they'll be able to continue that effort in this football game against Cam Newton? And are you concerned that they may get outside of their lanes a little bit? Because we all know that Cam's mobile as well, and possibly lose him and allow him to, make plays with his feet? Is that a concern for you with us being so, avid about getting to the quarterback and being rushers?
Not really. Like the Browns have a really good offensive line, especially they got some good interior guys. They got Joe Patonio, and we were able to, pressure Baker Mayfield. And, Cam Newton's not a very good quarterback anymore, so I think we could easily get pressure. And, man, this offseason, we just need one legit pass rusher, and this front could look scary, man. Because, Foley Fatukasi, he's the number one ranked run defender in the NFL, which is crazy. He's, ahead of Aaron Donald, guys like that. And you got Quentin Williams, John Franklin Myers, and, guys, you got depth, too. You got Nathan Shepard, Kyle Phillips, Jabari Zuniga, guys like that. And, you have a little bit of depth, good back-end guys, edge rusher like Terrell Basham, Bryce Huff maybe, Zuniga, but none of them, I don't think those guys are starting caliber, but as a rotational piece, that would be scary. But, yeah, going to the game, man, I think we could get pressure on Cam Newton, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about the Jets waiving Ficken? Are you excited to see what McLaughlin's going to be able to bring to the table for us?
About time. It's about time, man. Now, I love my man Ficken for the tank, but now that I'm hoping we win this game, no, I want to see with this McLaughlin guy, because you never know. You find a kicker, he balls out. That's, This team has been inept at finding. It's the one issue. It's not the one issue. I've got a bunch of issues, but it's mind-numbing how awful this team is at finding kickers. I know we had Mims back in 18. He went to the Pro Bowl, but that dude, that Vic who lost us a Buffalo game, and then we had that dude who retired after an awful preseason game. I think it was Canzaro or someone like that. So yeah. I'll just try anyone. I'll just try anyone out, man, because this team is so bad with kickers. But let's hope McLaughlin fixes that.
Yeah, absolutely. So my final question for you, bro, before I let you go, what is your final score prediction for the Jets against the Patriots, my friend?
All right, 21-0, baby. We're getting a win. Let's go.
Oh, okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. That's what I'm talking about. Let's give him another one. Let's give him another one. All right, that's a strong. Thank you again for calling in, my friend. I got to get back to these lines. Listen, next show I want to hear from you. You give hella great takes, man. You have a good night.
You too.
Woo, let me tell you, my guy called in with the fire. I know a lot of people are really high on, Justin Fields right now. I completely understand it. There's a lot of things moving and shaking, a lot of things going on, and we're going to talk about it all night long. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep getting to these callers. I'm going to go to the chat really quickly to talk to the Savages. I'm going to come to Mike from Bayshore when I get back. Definitely want to talk to you, my friend. You'll be next up. But let me get to these Savages, man. They get after it. Salute to everybody in the chat. Roscoe Kicks, Roach, TJ Decker, Idris Zor, Edwards, everybody going off tonight. Listen, there's a lot of questions I'm being asked. A lot of questions I'm being asked tonight. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go to TJ Decker. TJ Decker, salute to you. TJ says, we all know what happened last night, Joe. What are your thoughts on Fields? Listen, I tell you what. Here's my thoughts. I told people before I thought that Fields was a very solid quarterback. I know that everyone had Lawrence consensus number one. They talked about him being a generational talent, had no issues with that. I think he's a good player. But I always said that I think that Fields has it as well. And let me tell you, the kid showed grit last night. He really did. The fact that he went back out there after, having his ribs jacked up and was still able to go out there and throw strikes, I'm talking about was torching out there. He was throwing heaters. Extremely accurate, didn't let the pain affect him, was still able to go out there and make plays and put up points. And all the things that were surrounding that game as well, with Dabo saying that they should be ranked 11th, all these other things that was going on, he silenced a lot of critics. And let me tell you something. There's a lot of people, I'm not calling them out, I'm saying there was a lot of people that said that Justin Fields was trash. And this was 2-3 weeks ago. They were saying he was trash, he was garbage. He's not on a level. If the Jets take him at 2, they'll be idiots. All these kind of things, all these narratives that was floating around that I heard, he silenced all that. I now hear people talking about him possibly being the number 1 pick. That's what I'm hearing. You can go on the timelines. You can go across social media. I'm just telling you, that's what I've been hearing. Okay? I've heard now in these past, this past 24 hours, I've been hearing, the Justin Fields could possibly be the number one pick, and that people need to turn around on Justin Fields and that he looks so amazing. He put out one of the grittiest performances that we possibly ever seen in college football. There's people that are saying these things. He's got the moxie. He's got what you need. He's a leader. You can bring him in. He'll change the franchise around. I'm just telling you what I've been hearing. You know what else I heard? I've also been hearing that number 2 pick is now extremely valuable. That's what I've been hearing. Before, when I was saying that, I was told that I should shut up because that's not true. That's a bad take. But now I'm hearing that number 2 pick is valuable. Interesting. That's all I'm saying. So that's my take there. But listen, the Jets have a lot of options. Got a lot of options. Okay? That Sugar Bowl tour turned a lot of people around on a lot of things. But the Jets have a lot of options. So I'm going to get back to these callers. Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to the Savages. I will come to you later. But I'm going to go to my guy, man. My guy, Mike from Bayshore, man. Mike, I want to thank you for calling in, my friend. Happy New Year's to you and your family. I want to talk to you tonight. What are your thoughts about Sam Darnold going into this final game against the Patriots? And if you are a guy that's kind of looked at him and said, I want to move on from him, or if you're talking to people that want to move on from him, do you think that a big performance could turn them around on him staying here?
Oh, Big Joe, let me tell you something, bro. Happy New Year's to you and your family and all to your listeners and subscribers. Happy New Year's. Long story short, yeah, I definitely think Sam can get it. I hope he does. He deserves it. And, yeah, thank God for Justin Fields playing it last night. It puts us, let me just get the flamethrower out. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready? Because you know what today is?
I'm ready.
You know what today is? All right. This is sucker-free Saturday for Jets fans because we don't have to deal with Adam Gates, okay? This is sucker-free Saturday. Amen to that. We better hold on right now because it is gone. It's done. Out of here. Later. Sayonara. Goodbye. See ya.
Yeah.
Do not touch our quarterback ever again. You don't look at him. You don't see him. Don't say hello to him. Keep away from Sam Darnold, Adam Gates. You don't ever mention his name again. You get what I'm saying? With that being said,
let me tell you.
You told me, hey, man, I the thing is, though, it's like I like what Sam does, but at the same time, man, Justin Fields is a great quarterback. No joking aside. But at the same time, you mentioned it earlier, bro. We have so many holes, and Big Joe D is going to take care of it. We were smart. Yeah, we can get tempted. We can look at the Holy Grail and be like, yeah, grab it. But at the same time, we have so many holes to fill. With that being said, you trade out of the number 2, maybe give it to Atlanta because you know what? Justin Fields is from the ATL. They're rebuilding. They have to do what they need to do. You know what? If they give us anything, you know what? Well, let's do it. Build around Sam Darnold. If it doesn't work out, listen, Jets fans, if it doesn't work out with Sam Darnold, we have this kid named Sam Howell playing right now for UNC with the Tar Heels. This kid is legit. He's the real deal. I got people in Raleigh. I got people in Chapel Hill telling me if this kid was in the draft, he'd be right underneath Trevor Lawrence. Am I lying? But at the same time, man, we have to build around this. We have to build around Sam Darnold. Maybe if we trade down, draft Wilson.
Yeah,
I don't believe it.
One second, Mike. Yeah, one second, Mike. And you're bringing the fire right now, and I hear you. I'm with the trade down talk as well. I've been talking about that for a long ass time. But my question for you, when you talk about trading down, what is the furthest that you're willing to go? Because you talked about Atlanta, right? Trading down with Atlanta, which is fine. That's understandable. That'd be at 4. But say Atlanta doesn't want to make that trade. Say they're willing to do exactly what you're talking about. Hey, look, we're in a rebuilding process anyway. We got cap issues. We all know we're not going to be able to move forward with some of the guys we got. We're going to go into a full-blown rebuild, and we'll tank for House next year. No big deal. We're not offering you anything. So you're smacked out of that. Now, say Denver steps up and offers something because they're QB hungry. Or say Washington steps up at 19. So now you're going from 4, now you're going down to 10 or 19. Are you willing to move down that far?
Well, Joe, let me ask you this. What if Detroit trades up?
A Detroit trade? You think that they're willing to move on from Stafford?
Well, let's just say
because Stafford is there. I mean, I hear what you're saying. But Stafford will be there. Stafford would be a draw for a new head coach, right? Because, again, he's a guy that's put up numbers. Yes, he's in, he's going to be gone in a little bit, but he's still there. He's still a quarterback that can get it done in this league, right? We've seen him be successful still now, even with all the issues that they have, and they just got rid of Patricia. So, to me, Stafford would be a staple there with Detroit. I would think that Denver would be a spot because they have issues there at quarterback. I would think that, everybody talks about New England, but, I mean, New England could be a spot, but I doubt that they trade anything to significantly help us out. I doubt that.
Come on,
so
bro.
That's why my door is closed there. But Washington,
we know
Chicago,
that's not going to happen.
Yeah, Washington, Chicago could be a spot. But, again, Washington's at 19, Chicago's at 20, Denver's at 10. So if Atlanta's closing the door on that trade, then what do you do? Are you willing to move down to 10? That's what I'm asking you, Mike. Are you willing to move down to 10?
Man, that's steep, bro. That's steep. You brought up a good point, but I do not see Atlanta flinching on that because Arthur Blank is a businessman, and the thing is, so Justin Fields is he's from Atlanta, and I think they're moving on from Matt Ryan. They're moving on from Julio Jones, and to bring the young fans in. I mean, you would have to trade. If you trade down, you'd have to trade with Atlanta or Detroit. If you don't, that's an interesting question because what do we do? What do we do as Jets fans? And then all of a sudden you trade Sam Darnold. Listen.
Here's my thing. Thing, Mike. And I don't mean to cut in, but here's my thing, Mike. If Atlanta shuts down that trade, right? And you can't get that. You can't get them to give up what you think it would take to move down, and you're at 2, then you trading down to 10 or moving down some spots, wouldn't that also benefit you as well? If you're still sitting at 10? That's my question, because I understand that everybody's all hitched to Atlanta. I get it. They're in a need. But just because Arthur Blank is a businessman, he also understands risk versus reward. And if he feels like he's going to risk too much in the future capital, especially if they're going down, if they're going into a rebuild anyway, and they don't make that move and they don't want to give you capital, if you're going to want to trade down, then you need to trade down. Either you trade down or you're taking Fields. I mean, isn't that the situation there, Mark?
I mean, it's interesting. But you know what, Joe? It all depends who the coach is. And
That's true. That's true.
That great thing about this show, Joe, and I love this show, I have an opinion, you have an opinion, I can be wrong, you could be right, the next guy could be right. I mean, but the main thing is we want the Jets to win, and bottom line. And Joe, let me tell you one thing. How did my man Najee Harris look last night?
Oh, boy, let me tell you something. And we're going to keep because we're going to keep going because I want to talk to you about this Patriots game too. Because we talk about the draft.
I got something for you too, my man.
Let me tell you something. Look, I know. I told you I wouldn't take a second back in the second round. I wouldn't do it. I still won't do it. But when he jumped over that boy.
My man.
He jumped over that boy. Let me tell you, he jumped over that boy. And I said, bro, I could hear you. I could already hear you.
My man.
Calling in.
My man.
Here, I'm about to talk to Mike tomorrow about him jumping over that boy.
We have the lethal weapon relationship. You're Murtaugh, I'm Riggs. You're telling me, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm going to say, I'm going to jump. All right? My man, we got this, all right? You don't worry. I got this. You're going to tell me don't jump. I got this. All right? All right? You got this.
So
I got one question for you. Who is the one guy the Jets, like, if the Jets draft, like, your guy, like your person, who, like, forget about it. Who is the one person you want the Jets to draft?
Ooh, there's a couple guys. I don't want to get too deep in the draft. All right, the first like 3 rounds. Ooh, I would love. I don't know if they'll take him in 2. I think we could get him below 2, but I love that tackle from Oregon. Oh man, I like that guy so much.
All right.
I like him.
All right.
There's a couple other guys as well in this draft. There's a tackle from USC that I like too. There's a tackle from USC I like as well. There's some wide receivers that are coming out. Too Smith, I like him too. So there's some guys that are in the draft. And you know, I'll continue to talk about those guys as we go more in depth with the draft talk. But there's some guys out there. There's a couple guys that I really, really like that I think would benefit us as a football team.
I'm making a bet with you right here. So let's check this. No. You know, you told me to bring the fire up with the flamethrower. Okay, we don't play around in Suffolk County. All right, we don't play around in Suffolk County. I don't know what you guys do in Nassau County. I mean, I played 2 years at Nassau football. All right, I don't play around. Okay, let me tell you. So let me tell you, man. I brought the flamethrower. If the Jets draft Najee Harris, you're going to buy me that jersey. If the Jets draft, I'm not going to say the Oregon tackle because that's not going to happen because Miami's going to draft him. You give me another player, I'll give you. I don't know. 2 weeks.
I'll tell you what, Mike. We'll talk about this. Let me think about that. All right, because there's a lot to put on the line there. But I want to keep going. I want to keep going to this game because we got quite a bit of callers. But one of my last question I'm going to ask you is: I look at this situation going into the Patriots game. There's a lot of young guys that I want to see perform well, right? And I look at the situation with Mims right now. He's a guy that we all think could be extremely effective when given the football, but he needs to get the football in his hands. How many targets do you think he'll get in this football game, and how important is it to get him, to be a big part of this game plan against the Patriots in the final game?
Well, I think it's very important because obviously it's a job interview for everybody tomorrow. I hope he gets at least 8 to 9. That's maybe on the high end. But at the same time, I think Mims is legit. I really respect him. I like Bryce Hall. I think Bryce Hall, you have to understand, Bryce Hall 2 years ago playing at Virginia, okay, I went to NC State. Bryce Hall was a legit, if not top 3 or top 5 corner before he got hurt. And same thing with Blessed Austin. So these guys are all going to do like their audition, if not say their interview. And these guys need to play hard, and they need to play hard real bad. I mean, like nobody's business. So I really trust in it. I really hope the Jets pull it off and do it at Gillette. It's always a pleasure, man, to do it in Gillette. And we haven't done that. So satisfying since 2010. Santana Moss, how you doing? But you know what, Joe? Great show, bro. Keep it up, man. And we'll talk about that bet.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you, man.
Well, before I let you go, though, Mike, and again, thank you for calling in, give me your final score prediction for the Jets Patriots.
17-0, Jets.
All right, 17-0 Jets. Listen. All right, Mike, I want to thank you for calling in, my friend. You have a good night, and Happy New Year's to you as well.
You too, brother. Take care.
Ooh, Mike calling in with the fire. We're going to keep going to the lines. Again, 515-602-9639. Again, 515-602-9639. We're going to go to my guy, Rich, man. We're going to go to Rich, and we're going to hear from him. Because I know Rich has quite a bit to say, man. Rich, salute to you. Thank you for calling in. Happy New Year's to you and your family, my friend. How are you feeling about Sam Darnold going into this game against the Patriots?
First and foremost, Happy New Year to you and your family, good sir. And I feel great about Sam Darnold going into this game because, man, has time flipped or what? Bill Belichick now has nothing better to do than start trolling Jets fans talking about how great Adam Gase is as a coach. So, because he's seen his own operation fall apart over there. So, I feel great going into this game. I told a good friend of mine who is a diehard Jets fan just like you and I last night, Justin Fields either just won himself the Jets starting job not the starting job, but he definitely won himself to be picked by the Jets, or we're about to get a lot of draft capital for this guy, and I hope that it is the latter.
Yeah. You know, I mean, when you look at the way the Fields played, especially, you know, in that Sugar Bowl, it's turned a lot of people around about him. Absolutely has. And we've seen, you know, the narrative kind of change where there's some people that think that he's going to go before Trevor Lawrence does. There's a lot of people out there that are already talking about that stuff. And a lot of people that used to be really high on Wilson are now higher on Fields than they are on Wilson. I mean, in your opinion, what is your top three quarterbacks at this point? Like, where are they on your board?
Well, after last night's game, I'm one of those crazy people that thought to myself, oh, my God, the Cons are going to go crazy, and they're going to draft Fields over Trevor Lawrence. To be honest, Trevor Lawrence did not play a bad game yesterday, so his team the defense just couldn't stop Fields, and that was that. And Ohio State just ran all over him, literally and figuratively. Yeah. So right now, I still got Trevor Lawrence at 1 with Fields at number 2. But like I said, I won't be shocked if that flips around. And then what becomes of the Jets if all of a sudden Trevor Lawrence falls into their lap kind of like Sam Darnold did? Or he's there to fall into their lap like Sam Darnold was some years ago. Yeah. So it'll be an interesting dynamic.
Let's say that happens. Yeah, let's say that happens, Rich. In your mind, do you think the Jets, don't pass up on Lawrence? Do you think they still trade down out of that spot if he does fall down into their laps?
If it's me, whether it's Lawrence or Fields, I want to trade because no matter what, like we've been saying for months on end ad nauseum, it doesn't matter who you bring in to be quarterback. If he doesn't have nothing around him like Sam Darnold currently has, he has a few things, but not a lot, then it doesn't matter who it is. You're just going to trade out the names. You're just going to get rid of Darnold, and now you're here. You're going to put in Lawrence or Fields in the same exact situation. So trade the pick and get somebody's, draft future for the next 3 drafts or something. That's what I would do.
Yeah. Also, there's a narrative floating around, Rich, and we talked about it because we all believe that Adam Gase is going to get fired after this game. He should be gone. Reports are flying. We talked about it. He should be out of here. Now, there was a narrative that head coaching candidates would not be interested, in coming here because, the stuff with the first pick, we're not going to get Lawrence, so it isn't what it is. We're not going to be able to get the guy that we want because, of course, they want Lawrence. Well, now when you look at the situation with Fields, us having the number 2 pick, if we end up with Fields, don't you think that now that narrative is smashed, that we could still get top head coaching candidates if we were to take Fields, that they would still be interested in coming here and coaching New York Jets because of what they saw out of Fields?
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, any top coach right now, if they're not drooling, thinking to themselves, right now, I could go to the biggest market, one of the biggest markets, and go over there and take this nice young raw quarterback, and us together, we could take this franchise to their first championship. Well, not next season. I mean, that sounds like I'm some delusional Cowboys fan. But eventually. Because real quick about the Cowboys, you know how they can go 0-16, and then they'll be like, but next season we go to the Super Bowl, right? But enough about that.
Man.
So,
yeah.
But I think it's an attractive job to anybody right now, and Fields made it like that with that performance last night. So
Yeah.
Now the bank could be open for whoever to come and be a coach and be the next head coach of the New York Jets.
Well, yeah, and it's definitely going to be open to be there. Now, I know you talked a little bit about trading down, Rich. What is the team that you're targeting? Like, what team would you target in a trade down at this point?
Well, I honestly think, given that John Elway has tried to get it right for so many years and just hasn't been able to do it, I think that it could be the Broncos, and we go all the way down to number 10. And thank God, but thank God that it's John Elway, that he'll do something crazy like, give us all the crazy draft capital that me and you wish we could get. We could definitely get it from John Elway and the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
So that, to me, I know that there's people saying maybe the Atlanta Falcons at 4 because they're trying to move on from Matty Ice and all that, but I don't see the Falcons giving up all that the Jets are going to demand in a trade down.
Yeah.
But I definitely see the Broncos doing it because they've tried and tried and tried for the better part of, the last 5 years to find a replacement for Peyton Manning, and they just can't do it.
Yeah.
So maybe they're salivating at the fact that it could be one of these two kids. And Joe Douglas should pounce on that right away.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm right there with you, Rich. I think that if, again, it depends on how much Atlanta would be willing to give up. But if they're not willing to give up that capital, I wouldn't balk at all at moving down to 10 and moving, having Denver just give us a haul to move up and get whoever it is they want. Because like you said as well, and we've seen John Elway get crazy. We've seen John Elway be the guy that wants to make moves to better his football team at all costs. He's not afraid at all to do what it takes to really, move to where he needs to move to make the play. But I want to get back to this Patriots game with you really quickly, Rich, because that's what we have on the horizon here. And I'm going to get your thoughts on Mims, man. Going into this last game, I really want to see Mims get the football in his hands as much as possible so that we can continue to see what this kid's going to give us and evaluate him. How important do you think it is for him to get as many targets as possible in this last game before the season ends?
I think it's super important that Sam Darnold and Denzel Mims spend the whole game Darnold targeting him as much as possible, because you're giving an audition for your next head coach, possibly. And your next head coach wants that 1-2 punch like a Marvin Harrison and Peyton Manning, which is a terrible analogy to use right now with Peyton Manning's name, but you get what I mean. So, but you want that 1-2 punch. So, honestly, I hope that Mims gets targeted at least 8 or 9 times tomorrow, and he has a big game. Because, like I said, this could be the potential audition for the next coach to say, yes, I got my 2 guys right here. I got my quarterback. I got my lead wide receiver. Now we could just start building around both of these guys.
Yeah. I'm hoping that they do whatever they can to get Mims the ball, man. Because like you said as well, we need to figure it out, and you're hoping that these are the 2 guys that you can build around going into the future. Some other players as well that I think we need to really get a solid evaluation for in this football game as well. Ty Johnson and Josh Adams. I want to see these 2 kids get as much carries as possible. How important do you think it is that we make sure that we showcase Ty Johnson to see what he can give us as well?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Like I just told you, we just need to showcase the young talent that we've got that's still going to be here after the season's over, hopefully. And Ty Johnson needs to be given his chance to shine. Tomorrow, it's the final game of the season. There's nothing on the line for anybody. Nobody.
Yeah.
Whoever wins doesn't go to the playoffs. Whoever loses doesn't go to the playoffs. So it doesn't matter. So tomorrow is your day, this team, to just go out there and give it the effort that you've been giving it the last 2 weeks times 100, and show whoever's going to come here for next season, listen, we're ready to go. We just needed to get rid of this coach. That's all.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about the Jets waiving Ficken?
Well, I mean, what was he really doing? I mean, like at this rate, there's people on that team that shouldn't be there right now. CJ, whatever his name is, that opted out because of COVID. is getting paid
C.J.
a
Mosley.
ton of money. Yeah. So I don't even remember his name, and he's on our team. So there you go. So and so people that are holding their weight. I mean, to me, Pickens wasn't. I'm not. There's nothing there's no highlight that I ever saw or any game throughout the year that I go, oh well, the team sucked, but Pickens was doing his thing. So
yeah. I respect it. My final question for you, Rich, before I let you go. What is your score prediction, your final score prediction for the Jets against the Patriots?
Okay, in the final insult, right? The final middle finger carrying over from 2020 and the first middle finger of 2021 in the face of Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft and the New England Patriots, who are neutered without Tom Brady. Jets, 31-3. Jets will win, 31-3. And we're going to pick off Cam Newton like 3 times. That is my prediction.
31-3. Salute to you, Rich. Happy New Year to you and your family, man. Thank you for calling in. You have a good night.
You have a good night too, Joe. Happy New Year, and let's go Jets.
Go Jets. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, go Jets. It's time to talk, man. It's time to talk. I'm going to keep hitting these lines. We're going to keep going to these lines. I'm going to go to, the Savages really quickly. Salute to everybody in the chat that's going off right now. Again, if this is your first time watching me or listening to me, I call my chat the Savages. Why? Because they're savage. Nobody's safe out here, okay? And they go off, and I talk to them, and I go back and forth with them as well. So Venom G's in the chat. Yo, salute to you, Venom G's. Venom G says, I would move to 10 if they give their first round and their second round and their third. Yeah, there's a lot of options. I think a lot of people, and again, salute to Venom G's, there's a lot of options on the plate right now. And I think a lot of people are really zoned in and focused in, to Atlanta. But you also got to think, maybe Atlanta doesn't want to give up that capital. You have to think about that. You have to think that maybe Atlanta looks at the situation and Arthur Blank sits back and goes, yeah, I like the kid, but at the same time, we're in a rebuild anyway. We've got quite a bit of issues. We're going to have to trade away talent. If we have to, get rid because we have cap stuff, we have all this stuff going on, why not get rid of, why not just tank the next year anyway? Because we're going to be bad. So why not just be bad and get our picks, have one of the highest picks, and then take a quarterback that year? That's an idea that they could have. And you have to be prepared for that. I think a lot of people zoned in on Atlanta, and they're not thinking about other places as well. So we gotta continue to look. So salute to everybody again, all the Savages. Salute to Jake Klein. Good to see you in here, my friend. And everybody that's watching, if you're on YouTube or wherever you're at, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my stream and turn on those notifications. Again, everybody, you can call in. We're talking tonight. We're talking Jets. We're talking everything. 515-602-9639. Again, 515-602-9639. Call in and talk to me. Call in and talk to me. We're talking Jets. We're talking Justin Fields. We're talking Trevor Lawrence. We're talking Sugar Bowl. We're talking it all right? Jets number 2 pick everything. We got a caller. We're going to get back to these lines. Caller calling in, my friend. It looks like this is a new caller I have here. 985, salute to you. Happy New Year's to you and your family. Give me your name, where you're from, and what are your thoughts on on Sam Darnold going into this game against the Patriots?
Hey, Joe. Toby from Louisiana.
What's going on, my friend?
I'm fine. You?
I'm all right. So what are your thoughts on Sam Darnold going into this game?
I think Sam will have an okay game. He might have it in his head that he won't be the QB next year. I believe that'll happen, so he might kind of screw up a little bit.
Okay.
With nervousness. I want to talk about the number 2 pick, though.
Okay, go ahead.
So,
what are your thoughts about the number 2 pick? Are you a guy that's interested in Fields, or are you looking to trade down?
Well, actually, I think Trevor will be there, and I believe we could still get him if we trade down.
What? Wait a minute. Okay, Toby is bringing the fire right now. Okay. This is a take.
Okay.
This is a take. Toby's bringing his take right now. I want to hear it. I want to respect it. So you're telling me you think that we could get Trevor Lawrence even if we trade down in this draft?
Yes. So, okay.
Where exactly do you think he will fall at this point?
3 to us.
So you think we trade down to 3 and we'll still be able to get Trevor Lawrence?
We trade with Miami. That's the only trade we will do if Houston could hold that 3 spot for Miami. We trade down with Miami because we know that Miami will not trade with anyone if they're taking Sewell because they want to get Sewell before Cincinnati. So Cincinnati would have to jump Miami. If Miami has 2, who's going to get the spot? Miami isn't taking the quarterback, so we trade back 1, get Trevor, and
okay. Look, I hear your take. I don't know, if we would actually do that or if it works out there. I mean, I look at this situation because if you trade out with Miami and Trevor Lawrence is sitting there, they could end up trading to a QB-needy team, especially if Trevor Lawrence is there. This is a guy that people talked about being a generational talent. I mean, am I lying? No. Like, there are people that literally,
but who would they trade out for?
Talking about how this guy is not going to be, is going to be, he's of the ilk of an Andrew Luck and all these other guys. I just don't see how, if Trevor Lawrence is there, that we'll trade out with Miami and allow them to take whoever. Why would they trade up if they know, hey, we're a QB-needy team anyway? Why would they move up? Wouldn't if they're going to take a tackle, if they're going to take that right tackle from Oregon, or the tackle, from Oregon, why wouldn't they just wait and take him, at 3?
Because then what if Cincinnati wants to move up to our 2 spot and then they want Sewell?
Well, I mean, they would have to give us a ton of capital to do that. Do you think they would move up that far just for, a tackle at this point?
Well, both of them have horrible lines at this moment, and they definitely need help, especially Cincinnati. So I feel they would get desperate enough to at that point.
Yeah, look, I hear you. I hear your take. I just don't see Miami doing that. I just don't see why they would give up capital to move up 1 spot if they know for a fact that we are not in a position to, taking a tackle, he would probably come in as our right tackle anyway. At number 2, I could maybe see that, but with all the needs that we have on the team, I would think that trading down significantly and drafting capital would be big for us. And so what I don't understand is, why would we give up? Because if we're sitting at 2 and Trevor is there, why would we give up the opportunity to get a haul from a football team? I'm talking about a full-blown haul to move down and give Miami a chance. Why would we do that?
Well, it's only 1 spot we will be moving down.
I understand it's only 1 spot, but what I'm telling you is that why would we give them an opportunity? Why would we do that? Because how do we know that Miami won't just move up and give a team a haul to move down? There's other tackles in this draft that are solid as well.
But Sewell.
Yeah, but there's other tackles. There's a tackle from USC that's really solid. There's tackles from other places that are fairly solid, and they'll get a gigantic haul. I just don't see Miami doing that. I respect your take. I understand where you're coming from, but I just don't see why we would move down. If Trevor Lawrence is at number 2, if he's there is no way I'm trading to Miami. Not at all. Unless they're willing to, for whatever reason, unless they want Trevor Lawrence and are willing to give me a boatload of picks, I'm not giving nothing.
That's
Miami.
what I mean.
I will entertain Atlanta. I will entertain Denver. I will listen to Washington or whoever else is willing to give me multiple first-round picks and some second picks and all this other stuff. But I am not trading in Miami. I just do not believe that that's going to happen at all. Go ahead.
I would not trade down with Atlanta.
You would not trade down with Atlanta?
No, for the fact that at 2 or 3, I know we would have a chance at Trevor. I feel like if we trade with Atlanta, they're definitely taking Trevor at that spot.
Okay, yeah, I definitely hear your take there, but let's go to the game here. I want to talk to you just a little bit about this Patriots game that we have coming up, because you got quite some takes there, quite some takes. When you look at this situation, and you're looking at the Jets right now going into this game, Mims, I think, is a guy that definitely needs to get quite a bit of targets. What are your thoughts about him going into this game, and do you think the Jets should, definitely make sure that he's well fed in this football game to see what he has?
Mims is great. They should definitely feed him the ball, but we know Adam Gase won't do that for whatever reason. He probably won't feed Ty Johnson and Josh Adams, even though they're our only two running backs for this game. He'll find some way to get it to someone else. Don't know who, but it's Gase. And this is his last hurrah from what we see on social media and everywhere. So,
yeah. Look, I hear you. So my final question for you is, what are your thoughts, what is your final score prediction for the Jets-Patriots game?
16-7 Jets.
16-7 Jets. All right, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, man, I'm going to let you go because I got to keep going to these lines. You have a good night, my friend, and Happy New Year's to you and your family.
You also.
All right, have a good one. Ooh, Toby calling in. Listen, I respect everybody's take. I want to make sure I let people know that, okay? But if Trevor Lawrence is sitting there too, there is no way. There's no way I'm trading down to Miami. There's no way. There's no way. Unless they're willing to give me like multiple first round picks, right? Unless they're willing to give me, I'm talking everything. There is no way that I am giving up the chance to get a haul, okay? And, hell, we might as well take Trevor ourselves. Everybody knows I'm a Sam guy. I think we should build around him. But, dude, if Trevor Lawrence is there, you either you're going to take him or you're going to trade down, Either you're going to take him or you're going to trade down. You're not trading down to Miami. You're going to trade down the board. You're either giving them, you're either going with Atlanta or you're going, down to Denver at 10, or you're doing something else. You are not giving Miami a chance for, some chump change. I'm not giving them an opportunity. Not at all. Especially when, Miami is a divisional opponent and they could end up backdooring you. Get up out of here, man. I can't get with that take, but I respect Toby, and I want to thank him for calling in. Whoa. That was a blast take right there. Whew, he came in with the double barrel. Whoa. So salute to him. I'll get back to these callers. Whew. That really put me in the spin cycle. I want to get to these to the savages, savages in the chat. Woo. Savages in the chat. Tony in the chat. Salute to you, Tony. Tony says, do you see the Falcons trading up to number 2? Actually, yes, I do. Yes, I could see the Falcons trading up and giving us the correct capital. I think that, again, with Matt Ryan, all the things they have going on over there, they could end up, wanting to move on from him and really seeing, kind of the writing on the wall that they need to start that rebuild and, getting a good young quarterback to really do that for them. And they're fairly close. They're closer than Denver and all these other places, all these other teams that, I think would be QB hungry. So I think that giving up a little bit of capital for them, maybe, again, you're talking about multiple first round picks and then you're getting into the mid rounds too. I think that they would be interested. I don't know for sure if they would do it, but I think that they're definitely going to be one of the teams that's interested. We also see the report swirling as well. Salute to everybody. Angel Reed, talking about Doug Marrone being out as the Jaguars head coach, and that Urban Meyer is probably going to be the guy that's going to get in there. So I know a lot of people think that because Doug Marrone is going to be out in Jacksonville, that with with Urban Meyer sliding into that spot, probably going to want Fields. I know that that's been swirling around for quite a bit. We'll see if that happens. But hey, if that happens, then maybe Trevor is sitting there at 2. And then, then the decision needs to be made. And again, that option becomes, again, that haul that could be there for him. Because if we're talking about, Trevor Lawrence, he's been tagged a generational talent. So, we got people calling in with takes. Whoa. Whoa. I mean, said trade down and we're still going to get him. All right. We're going to get back to the lines. Okay, we're going back to the next caller. This is my guy from Jersey. Salute to you.
Hey, hi, Joe.
Happy New Year to you and your family, my friend. How are you doing today? And I want to get your thoughts on Sam Darnold going into this Patriots game, my friend.
Oh, dear. Going up against our arch rivals. Well, a little skeptical, but I think he should have a fairly decent game. But I want to make a comment about what Trevor Lawrence saying. Well, how we won our first game that Sunday and we lost that same day. Look, Trevor Lawrence never wanted to come to the Jets anyway, so I can't say that we gave up anything because we really didn't. If he didn't want to come, how can you say we lost? I mean, really. So I think the media was making just a big thing out of it, all for nothing. He didn't want to come, so it doesn't matter. If he doesn't want to come, hey, fire me. We'll get somebody else. The New York media, can be very cruel. And someone who grew up around the New York City metropolitan area knows how the media can be around, certain players who have all the hype and whatnot, and then when they turn back and it's like, and they do all the trash talking and whatnot. So, that I'm not surprised at. But, to say that we lost that day, no, I didn't see that. I really didn't see it at all. The media was just getting overhyped.
No, listen, I hear you, and you're talking, facts right now. I know a lot of people was absolutely getting after the Jets and upset, like you said, but maybe a bit of it was hype. But when you look at the situation now, this number 2 pick seems pretty valuable, right? I mean, the way that Justin Fields played in that Sugar Bowl, all those things. What are your thoughts about the number 2 pick now? And what are your thoughts about the Jets possibly trading down? Do you think we'll still be able to get a solid haul for that pick?
We'll still be able to get a solid pick for that because, if Trevor wasn't going to come anyway, which didn't surprise me, we can trade for something, with a lower pick. But doesn't mean it's not going to be any worse than the number 1 pick. I mean, it can still be a valuable pick and it's still a good pick, even though we don't get the top one. Because usually when you do get a top pick, they usually don't perform well the first year anyway. So in a way, it's a good omen. It's an omen, but it could be a good one. But how is Justin going to feel? Because I saw the injury last night. Oh boy, that was a doozy. I didn't think he was going to even come back in the game, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, he showed a lot of grit, showed a lot of toughness, showed the ability to fight through, pain. I'm pretty sure he was in extreme pain, but showed the ability that he could still deliver. I mean, a lot of people called it one of the gutsiest performances they've seen in college football. So I was, I was very, very impressed by the show that he put on.
I mean, it was like a Willis Reed or Michael Jordan coming up from the flu, and surprise, I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, well, I hear what you're saying. I hear your take
all
there.
Right, I know.
But,
I know it may not be in the same category, but, coming back when they thought, he's out of the game, like, no, I'm here. What's going on?
Yeah, look, I hear you. But just going back to the Patriots game, when you look at this situation, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, hey, do you think that a big performance from Sam, because a lot of people are looking at the situation and they're saying, hey, he's done. He's as good as gone. It's the end of it.
Yeah,
do you think that a big performance from Sam could turn those people around? Do you think that a big performance from Sam could also maybe save, his chance of being here next year?
The saying goes, too little, too late. So I would say, well, don't take my word for it. We'll just say that he's all but gone. But a high probability that he is going to be traded, when the season's over.
Okay.
Or who knows, maybe go to the Canadian League or whatever.
Yeah. So what is your final score prediction?
Maybe some people do, maybe a small percentage of people do, and they may think they may have something there, but I think a high probability and a high percentage of fans saying, no, he's not coming back.
Yeah. So what is your final score prediction for the Jets versus the Patriots?
Let's see. The Patriots 225-3. No. I'm thinking it's going to be a very close game. I mean, nobody's playing for anything. All your stars are out, so I'm not looking at this to be a high-scoring affair either. I'm going to say 21-17 Jets.
Okay, 21-17 Jets. I respect that. Listen, man, I want to thank you for calling in tonight. You have a good night, and Happy New Year's to you and your family.
Thank you, Joe. Hope to hear you again.
All right, you have a good one. Whew, let me tell you, people calling in with takes. I'm going to keep going to the lines. Whew, that was a hot take. That was a hot take given by a caller a couple calls ago. I mean, the possibility of us trading down and giving that pick to Miami, and being able to get Trevor Lawrence passed at number 3, that's a hot take right there. I know a lot of people are going off, but I'm going to keep going to these lines. 347, you're calling in. 347, looks like a new caller. Salute to you. I want to thank you for calling in tonight. How you doing? Happy holidays to you and your family. Again, thank you for calling in. Can you give me your name and where you're from? And what are your thoughts on Sam Darnold going into this game against the Patriots?
Dwayne from New York. My thoughts about Sam Darnold, well, first and foremost, when we initially were getting Sam Darnold, I didn't want him. The first problem was we kind of mortgaged his future in the first place, trading away all those picks to the Colts, right? And I've been watching the Jets for maybe over 15 years, and what I noticed is the team's talent that really determines how far they go, not quarterback. I don't understand why people think quarterbacks jump on a bad team, and makes them better. I didn't really agree with the Trevor Lawrence unless we were going to sit him, build the team up, and then put him to be the starter. I never understood that. So I'm a little on your side with the whole Sam Darnold thing. Draft some pieces that can help him. I think a quarterback really just highlights how good your team is. So I think he can do that. I just don't think he's the future, but I think he's a placeholder. Now, do I think Fields is better? Absolutely. I think Fields is better. I think he can go down the field more. If you watch Joe Flacco this year, I'm not saying Joe Flacco was a Hall of Famer or is a Hall of Famer, but he unlocked the talent of our team, which is going down the field. I know nobody believes that, but we have a lot of wide receivers that stretch the field, and Sam Darnold can't stretch the field. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Well, and we're gonna definitely talk about this tonight, Dwayne. Look, I hear your take, and again, I want to thank you for calling in. Here's my problem with that: is that when you talk about the stretch the field and all those things, a lot of that leads you to think about play calling, doesn't it? When you look at when Joe Flacco was playing, he had the play calling was not the same. It wasn't, and it was because Gaze wasn't the guy drawing up the game plan by himself. And I think that when you saw Darryl Loggins, you saw maybe even Cooter as well being involved in that as well in the game plan. But you saw motions. We saw a bunch of things that we normally do not see out of the game plan. And then when Sam was implemented back into the game after he came back from that injury, you saw it go back to being stagnant, standing around, no motion, no nothing. That's what we saw. So you saw it go back into the hands of Adam Gase. Now, when you talk about our talent at wide receiver, I don't think we have Rashad Perriman, yes, these are guys that can stretch the field, but they're not good wide receivers. We don't have many weapons. We don't. Also, when you look at the issues, and I know, we talk about this constantly on this show, the lack of protection. You saw Joe Flacco had a lot of these same issues. People romanticize his games, but when you look at the first two games, he was not good at all. He wasn't good at all. I remember him taking, a 20-something yard sack? He was running for his life. He did not look good in that first game. He didn't look good. There were some issues, and I think that people forget that because he did have like a pretty semi-solid game, the last game that he played, but there were major issues with Joe Flacco. And he suffered from a lot of the same things that Sam Darnold did. And look, I'm not the biggest, I'm not all about defending Sam Darnold, but I am all about stating the facts. And you talked about it a little bit as well. The fact that we have not completely built around him and given Sam the offensive talent needed to succeed has been a travesty. It's been a travesty. If you look at what we've done versus what the Bills have done with Josh Allen, we look like complete idiots. Look at what the Bills have done with Josh Allen. This is a guy that came in. He was the highest, one of the biggest boomer bust guys, right? Remember in that draft? Because, I know you probably remember, but he was talked about his accuracy was bad. People didn't know where he was going to be at, what was going to happen with him. They brought him in. They gave him solid coaching, right? His offensive coordinator is really a top coaching candidate right now. They gave him solid coaching. They then turned around and built that roster in front of him. They bettered their offensive line. That was one of the issues that they had. They drafted a ton of offensive linemen, and they surrounded him with weapons, and we have failed to do that. We failed to do it. Yeah. Every offensive lineman we have outside of Becton is not good and did not perform well this year. Even McGovern. And we brought him. We signed him as off the free agency list. So I think we have major issues, and I understand that. But when people talk about Joe Flacco and the little success that he had, dude, it wasn't world beater. It wasn't something amazing. He was still being not put in the correct position. There were still issues. He was still running for his life. There were still plays that were broken up. When you look at a lot of our scoring, it's especially this year, a lot of the TDs that we had before Sam went out, it was him just making a play. That big run that he had in Denver, all those things that he did. I think the talent is there, but I think you have to put pieces around him like you have any other young quarterback, because if you don't, he will fail, just like any other quarterback would fail in the system. So, but I hear your take there. What are your thoughts about when you talked about, because you talked a little bit about trading down, who are your targets as far as trading down if you're going to move from that number 2 pick? What teams exactly are you looking at to try to get the haul from?
I'm sorry to say this because I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this. My thing is, I see a few people, a few players that are kind of generational talent-ish. One of them is Penny, one of them is Trevor, but the other one is Kyle Pitts. And I'm not saying take Kyle Pitts at 4, but someone along that line. My main thing is always offensive line, always offensive line. If we are deciding not to go offensive line with Penny, I kind of want to go get Kyle Pitts because I know it's a tight end, but he doesn't just play tight end, and he cannot be covered. If we could get a right guard with that second Seahawks pick and get Kyle Pitts, who's guarding Kyle Pitts? That's my take.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then the trades.
But where exactly? Yeah, but where exactly are you trading down to? Are you moving down to the number 4 spot with Atlanta? Are you trading down to the number 10 spot with Denver? I mean, who exactly are you trying to get that haul out so you can be still in the same range and take a pitch, which we'll talk about as well in a second. But where are you moving to? Is it Atlanta? Is it down to 10 with Denver? Are you willing to go down to 19 with Washington? I mean, who exactly are you trying to get that haul from?
I'm not trying to go too far back. I know it sounds crazy to draft a tight end at 4, but if we can get something decent from Atlanta, and get Kyle Pitts, and then get a guard and, whatever else we can use those picks for, we can just build the offense this year and then worry about defense next year. That's kind of where I'm looking at with that.
Yeah.
I know I didn't scan the whole thing, but if I was looking at the list of the draft list, I would probably pick a different spot, but that's what I can kind of go with.
Yeah, look, I hear your take, Dwayne. I don't necessarily agree with us taking a tight end, and we'll talk about, the draft as we continue to go on. And again, I want to thank you for calling in. I don't necessarily agree with us taking a tight end, especially not at 4. I think we have so many other needs, particularly at impact positions, right? Like, your offensive line, wide receiver. Hell, I'd take a pass rusher before I would take a tight end, to be absolutely honest with you. And I'm a guy that has talked about completely bettering the offense before I even think about defense, because we poured so much into the defense over the years, all those first-round picks from, your Kyle Wilsons and your Sheldon Richardsons and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? So, but I do hear your take. I know that people are in love with Pitts. I get it, but I'm not taking a tight end at 4 if it's there. I'm either taking a wide receiver or I'm, taking offensive line, or I'm taking something at an impact position because we're so in need. And I do think that Pitts is a solid lineman. Now, when you look at this situation as well, I want to talk to you about the head coaching candidates, because Gase is as good as gone. I mean, Before I say that, though, before I press that, are you in agreement that Gase should be fired at the end of this season?
I never wanted Gase in the beginning.
Okay.
I don't know where that came from. Okay. Nobody was talking.
Okay. I just want to make sure because we've had some takes tonight. We've had some takes. Okay. I just want to make sure. But when you look at this situation now that we have the number 2 pick, it's pretty hot. Justin Fields playing the way he played. Everybody, really hyped and ready to go. Now all of a sudden the Jets, look like a destination that people would like to be. Who is the guy that you would like to see the Jets get in as the next head coach? Who do you think would love to come in here and play, with it, whether we keep Sam Darnold or move on with Fields or move on with drafting Trevor Fields? Who do you think is the top head coaching candidate we should target?
Unfortunately, all my head coach candidates, I don't believe they can pick staff. I never seen them pick staff, except for maybe Joe Brady. Joe Brady would be number 1. Greg Roman number 2. And like I said, I don't think he can pick staff. Maybe we'll have to work with him. But I'm looking at Tony Elliott from Clemson. I think he made a difference in how Clemson played. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at Tony Elliott.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And before I let you go, there's going to be, because that was a very solid coaching candidate list that you put together there. What are your thoughts about Ty Johnson and Josh Adams? How do you feel about them possibly being a running back tandem for the future? And do you think that they'll be able to really showcase what they have against the Patriots in this football game?
I noticed what they're doing with Ty Johnson. They're kind of like sending the wide receivers on a go and kind of dishing it off to Ty Johnson. Because he's got all that speed and he's huge. So we not have to, I know he's just a running back. But it would be great to keep Ty Johnson, not as the starter, running back number 2, though. Because, look, he's got speed. He can be third down. So I would want to draft a running back eventually. But Ty Johnson, I think he's a little overlooked. To be honest.
Okay. All right. And Dwayne, so my final question for you, my friend, is what is your final score prediction for the Jets against the Patriots in this football game?
I think a very Jets score would be 23-17, but I would pick the Jets to win this Sunday.
Okay. 23-17 Jets, all right.
I know it sounds blasphemous.
All right, Dwayne. Go ahead.
I think Bill Belichick is trying to tank a little bit to get a better position for a quarterback. I know it's blasphemous. I know.
Yeah, hey, it is what it is. Listen, Dwayne, I want to thank you for calling in, my friend. You got some great takes there. Thank you again for calling in. Happy New Year's to you and your family. Next time I have a show, Dwayne, call in, man. I like talking to you.
Yeah, it's a great show. Thank you very much. I definitely will.
All right, thank you. You have a good night. Ooh, listen, Dwayne called in with the fire. Dwayne has some fire there, I don't necessarily agree with everyone's takes. We can definitely go back and forth. I want to remain even if that take is, a little out there, but I want to remain respectful, But he has some solid takes, some solid takes there. So we're going to keep going to the lines. Salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to the Savages, man. Salute to the Savages. Y'all the greatest. John Perez in the chat says, "My brother, love your show. What do you think about last night's game with Field and Lawrence?" Yeah, we talked a little bit about that, John. And again, salute to you. I said, hey, Fields really put on. He really showed people that he was tough, showed his grittiness, really went out there and played extremely well. Trevor Lawrence, I thought, I'm not dusting him off or pushing him aside. I thought he had a solid game, but I did see some things that when pressure gets to him, he makes mistakes. We saw fumbles. We saw, he had one fumble. He should have had another one as well. He was running out of bounds. He also does this thing where he throws off his back foot that, again, and I know a lot of people, not me, a lot of people, other people that I've seen that were calling, him a generational talent. I've seen these people now turn their backs on him. I've seen some people say that he's not even the consensus number 1 pick in the draft. This was directly after the Sugar Bowl. I'm just telling you what I saw. Do not tweet me. Do not get in my DMs. Talk about, Joe, you bastard Trevor Lawrence. No, I'm not. I'm telling you what I saw. That's all I'm telling you. So I'm going to get to my guy now. We're going to go to the call. Salute everybody in the chat. Salute to the Savages, man. Salute to the Savages in the chat. We're going to keep coming to you. I'm going to get to my guy from North Carolina, man. You want to talk about a dude that brings the fire? This guy is the guy that brings the fire, man. You know how I go here. Listen, first off, I want to thank you for calling in, my friend. Second off, I want to say Happy New Year's to you and your family. Give me your thoughts about Sam Darnold going into this game against the Patriots. Do you think that he can turn people around that want to get rid of him with a big-time performance?
Hey, Joe, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. Yeah, I wanted to talk to you the other night, but I was at work on the job, and I was just turning on my phone casual. I got the notification for you. I said, "Wow, he's on this time." Well, and I couldn't even call in to get into some things, but hopefully this is the best, even better time. And I want to see Don have a great performance, reminiscent of his matchup with Aaron Rodgers and the game he had against the Cowboys prior to the ghost game against the Patriots. I want to see him play at a high level. What could be his final game as a Jet quarterback? I think the Jets, this is a time when the Patriots are vulnerable. I want to see Darnold open it up 34-10 and just beat them handedly. I want to see him just beat them down, Even though we will be without Quentin Williams, I think he did right to go and shut him down. I think he had a concussion and had a little neck injury.
Yeah, he had a concussion and some neck injuries. That's
right. So we will be without him. But the squad, the way they've looked so far, the Jets' defensive line has looked dominant. That's absent the defensive end I've been wanting to look for since John Abraham. But nonetheless, the Jets' defensive line has played surprisingly well, dominant. They're the reason we beat the Rams. And that was the big reason we beat the Rams, because of the play of our defensive line, which has been exceptional.
Yeah. Are you concerned about them overrunning? Because like you said, the defensive line has played well, particularly against the run too, because we shut down Chubb and Hunt. Against the Browns, people said that they would run all over us because the Browns were dealing with that row. But we were able to stop them and shut them down too, and we were able to get after Baker Mayfield. Now going into this game against Cam, you got Cam he's had a very up and down season, but he's still a guy that can put it together. And, he's done big time things in this league. But one thing I'm concerned about going into this football game, like some of the guys you brought up, Fadukasi, Nathan Shepard, we all know that Quentin Williams, he's on IR, but those guys, have been able to put things together. They start rushing the passer, Basham, even Luvu, Neville Hewitt as well. Are you concerned that they'll overrun Cam and Cam will be able to get outside the pocket and make plays with his feet? Because that's one thing that Cam is. He still is mobile. Are you worried about his mobile ability hurting us?
I think you're thinking about the earlier 2000s Cam Newton with the Carolina Panthers, Superman. I think Cam Newton is a shell of what he was. He's not washed up, but you can clearly see he's not the quarterback he was, similar to Michael Vick. When Michael Vick came to the Philadelphia Eagles, he was still, capable of some things, but wasn't the Atlanta Falcons' Michael Vick. And that's what I'm seeing with Cam Newton. You know what I'm saying? I think injuries have really damaged the tail end of his career. He's showing signs of age and decline. He's not the Cam Newton. You think about the Cam Newton, the early 2000s Carolina Panthers, Superman. If Bill Belichick would have had that Cam Newton, he would have been very formidable, someone to deal with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Cam can still move.
Yes. Hello? 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 Can you hear me? Yeah, I can't hear you now. Looks like we lost our connection. Yeah, I just turned my computer up, see if I can hear you on that end. I still can't hear you. Hello?
Yes, hello. I apologize. Blog Talk is, how it is. Thank you for saying because sometimes it boots me off the line.
I lost you one time when I turned my computer on because I got you on screen, your live stream. I said, let me turn that up. At least see if I can hear you on that end. We can communicate. So it's good.
I apologize. It's Blog Talk. It's long time tripping, but
I know the other night I was watching weeks ago. You had lost your connection with the callers, and you had to end your live stream. I don't know if that was 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I was ready to call in then,
Yeah, I got a lot of, when you get callers, Blog Talk just be tripping. But in any way, we're going to continue. If Blog Talk stay hating. Salute to Venom G's. He already knows in the chat. But like I was saying, I do believe that, Cam can still move, though. I'm not saying that he's like, 23-year-old Cam or anything like that, but I do think that he can still move and extend drives by making plays, just like Josh Allen. Josh Allen was doing that. He's not like the fastest guy in the league, but he was still able to find his spots when we did play him and effectively, move the chains using his feet. But another question that I have for you, when you look at this situation, they have backs that can come out of the backfield. Sony Michel, White, these are guys that come out the backfield and catch the football. What are your thoughts about our matchup with them and our linebackers? Because that's something I'm concerned with as well.
Yeah, we're definitely vulnerable because we don't have, we don't have Mosley and we don't have Avery Williamson, so we're definitely vulnerable from that aspect. We don't have our pair of starting linebackers, which we were looking forward to starting the season. We have a whole different defensive lineup in some areas of the team. So we're deeply devoid of talent and definitely need some upgrades and stuff. But I'm really looking forward to hopefully going and get this game over with. We can focus on the off season, fire Adam Gase, go on our head coaching search. And I really was happy about the
who's your top head coaching candidate right now?
Ohio State. T.J. Fleck was one of my guys out of college. I want a guy who can actually establish that he can run a program. You got Pat Fitzgerald. There's a couple of guys. There may be some other dark horse candidates out of college as well. Obviously, you got some pro candidates. Bill Cowher, I know his name had been mentioned. I don't know what his status is currently.
He said he don't
want to
be our coach. He said he don't want it. He said he doesn't want it. Yeah, but his name definitely was out there and it was supposed to connect it. But I tell you what, there's other guys. Eric Bieniemy is out there. Arthur Smith, DeBow, Greg Roman, the defensive coordinator from the Ravens as well. His name is out there too. So there's some guys.
Yeah, I was very interested when I heard the defensive coordinator from the Ravens name mentioned. I thought about Rex Ryan and this early success we had from him before we stripped him of his offensive weapons and led to Mark Sanchez regression. And that really hurt Rex, missing on some of the picks, Stephen Hill, Vlad Dukas, Vernon Gholston. We had those massive draft busts. So the team became devoid of talent after Damian Woody retired. I like Wayne Hunter. I remember they did a locker room interview with Wayne Hunter. That was a funny guy. He was like a nice guy. And he was, made light of it, was joking about it, trying to replace Damian Woody. And obviously, he was in over his head and all. He was just trying to keep the right attitude and do the best he could. But hopefully we can go on and rebuild this offensive line. I'm looking at the Atlanta Falcons at 4. That's the hot spot.
So you want to trade down?
Yes. If I'm going to move down, I'm hoping.
Hold on 1 second. 1 second before you. I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to, because I want to hear your takes on multiple things before you give me your take on trading down. Now we had a caller earlier. He came in with the double barrel. He's been crazy. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Let's say that Trevor Lawrence, because a lot of people, again, I know you've been hearing it ever since the Sugar Bowl. Some people are talking about the Jags taking Fields number 1. Say the Jags do that. Trevor Lawrence slides to 2. Are you still trading down?
I say no. If Trevor Lawrence falls to us, take him. If he falls to us, take him. Because he had been all the while for the last 2-3 months the consistent number 1 pick in the draft, and that would be a miracle. If somehow, when that card is turned in, I guess Taggart or whoever it is take that podium, I'm going to be watching live on ESPN. I like the ESPN version. We got the NFL Network. I'm going to be anticipating what his announcement is going to be. If he announces Justin Fields, my jaw will drop. I will be shocked.
Okay.
You're going to hear some oohs and ahs in the crowd, whoever it is. I don't think there'll be a live attender, with COVID. But I will be shocked. But if Trevor Lawrence falls to us at 2, take him. Don't get cute with it. Don't move down from that point. If Trevor Lawrence is there, curves is what I anticipate, that Trevor Lawrence will go number 1 because, they got their fan base in Jacksonville. They probably want Trevor Lawrence. So there's a lot of pressure on that franchise to do the right thing, go and take him. So I'm anticipating he will go first. Justin Fields and Zach Wilson be on the board. I'm going to be taking phone calls. Atlanta Falcons are the team that's sitting behind Miami at 4. I've been thinking about this today. I'm willing to move down to 4. Let them come up and get Justin Fields. Let the board fall to me. I think the Dolphins are going to take a wide receiver, which will probably be Jamar Chase or Penei Sewell. I said that's fine. If they do either way, Let the board fall to me at 4. If Zach Wilson is there, take him. I'm taking Zach.
Wow,
Wilson
so you're taking a quarterback either way.
Yes. That's the plan.
Wow.
Is to go on and fall down a couple of spots. It won't kill us. It won't really hurt us. Because Miami's sitting there. They're a key pick position. And I trust that they're not going to take the quarterback. They're like Tua. Tua's a solid. He looks like a solid pro. Just need a little time. You know what I'm saying? The board can fall to us at 4. We can still get one of our guys. You got the big 3. That's Wilson, Fields, and Trevor Lawrence. I'm taking Zach Wilson at 4 and never look back.
Okay. I got a question though. Let's say Atlanta doesn't want to trade, right? They don't want to move up. Let's say Denver calls at 10. Are you willing to move down to 10?
Now, if Denver calls at 10.
Tough question.
I tell you, let me see.
Tough question.
If they're offering me multiple ones, at least 2 ones, offering me a package that's hard to turn down, yes. I would be biting my hand to lose out on Zach Wilson. I really like that young man. Not to say I don't like Justin Fields. But Zach Wilson out of BYU has been very, very impressive. Very impressive. Well, for me to trade down to 10 and lose out on him, they're going to have to give me a serious package. I'm talking about multiple 1s, 2s, probably either 3s. You know, teams like to break it up. They don't usually give you 2 and 3. They might give you 2 and 4, and maybe a conditional pick on that backside. They give me the big package I'm looking for this year's draft, to give me that 2-3 or that 2-4, and maybe a conditional pick on the back end. Give me that 1 for 2022, possibly a 1 or a 3 for 2022. I do it. I move down on those conditions. And those multiple first-round picks are the foundation of any potential trade proposals. If I'm going to trade down, I got to make it well worth it. It's got to be a haul. Then my draft strategy would change. That's where the Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase, he'll probably be gone. He probably won't make it to 10. I don't even know if Kyle Pitts will make it to 10.
So you'll take a tight end in the first round? You'll take a tight end at 10?
If I move down.
Wow.
Now, if I'm trading, let's say I trade down outside the top 10, then that's when you got guys like Wyatt Davis. You know, the only reason I don't take him high in the first is a little bit rich for a guard, unless it's Quentin Nelson. So if I trade down to what you're talking about, trade down a little further, that's when you hear the name Wyatt Davis. That's who will come on my radar. All those other guys will be gone. Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts, I think is going to be gone. Several guys are going to be gone. They're going to all be gone. Now, I'll let the board fall to me, and I'll go and take a Wyatt Davis. It won't be a glamour pick, but nonetheless addresses a team need, which is upgrade offensive line. Guard position is key. And then I'm looking at that other pick at the back end. Terrence Marshall is one of my favorite wide receivers in the draft. I like Jamar Chase, but I had the chance to take up some video on Terrence Marshall. He's amazing. Rashad Bateman, Terrence Marshall. I look at the other pick at the top of the second round. That's when I'm going to look at Daniel Falele, the massive right tackle. I want to try to address my offensive line early and often and try to rebuild my line, add some wide receivers, maybe take a Najee Harris if I get an extra second-round pick. Let the board fall to me in the second round. See how far Najee Harris falls. If he falls to me with that other pick in the second round, let's see I make that trade, I'm taking him. I want to rebuild my offense, you know.
Okay. And would you move down any further than 10, or is 10 for you the cutoff?
Well, to put it, to tell you the truth, to move down further than 10, we're talking about a big haul.
Yeah.
A big package. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Multiple 2s, multiple 1s, probably a 1 for 2022, 1 for 2023, something of that ilk. Yes. If I get that kind of package, multiple 2s, 3s, 2s, 4s, conditional picks at the back end, 5th round picks or whatever, a really big package, yes. Under those conditions, I would agree to it. That means I'll forego taking a quarterback. I'll build my offensive line, get some wide receivers and skill talent, and see what happens with Sam Darnold in 2020. And then that was going to
be my next question. Are you keeping Sam Darnold, or are you trading him as well? Because you said you're taking a quarterback regardless. So you're either going to end up with Fields or Lawrence, whoever falls at 2 if you stay at 2, or even if you trade down, like you said, you're still Yeah. You know, even if you get 4, you're still looking to get a Zach Wilson or you know, somebody like that. So say you do take a quarterback, what are you doing with Sam?
Now, Sam Darnold, I'm going to probably take him since I have the option on him for 2020. Now, I'm going to have to make some kind of decisions at some point in 2021 whether I'm going to re-sign him. So what this means is, I guess before we even go into the break, whatever that what you call the bye week is, we're going to have to make some decisions. We're going to commit to him wholeheartedly. But you usually will know going into camp how he looks, the preseason performance how he looks, and then the first couple of games, 3-4 games out of the break, you know, you'll know then what your decision is going to be. If he's struggling and muddling around and maybe mixed and maybe he throws 2 TDs, 1 interception, has a loss, you know, still looks like he currently looks, and I'm going to have to make the decision. We're not going to exercise this option. 2022, I'm going to have all those 3 1s, multiple early round picks for 2022, and I'm going to push my chips in the middle of the table, and I'm going to be banking on that I can package up those 3 1s alone, and that will jump me into the top 10 or top 5 in the 2022 draft, and I'll get my quarterback.
And that's if you don't take a quarterback. Okay.
If we don't take a quarterback, yeah.
For me,
right.
Yeah, for me, I'm a guy that wants to stick with Sam, but I think if you're getting a quarterback in this, draft, and you know that this is going to be your guy, in my opinion, I think you should immediately trade Sam Darnold, because this is going to be, I think this is going to be the highest his value is going to be. Because if you don't,
that's right.
Then what do? You take a big chance that you go into, you know, the season and he doesn't look good, and then you can't get anything for him. That's one of the issues that we're having right now, right? Because everybody's saying some of the people that are talking about trading Sam Darnold, when they talk about the return, we're getting nowhere near the return that we got, that we gave up. We gave up 3 second-round picks.
We're not going to get 3 third-round picks.
Yeah, we're not going to get any of that stuff. So I'm thinking,
I think we'll probably.
Yeah, if you're going to move on from him, then just go ahead and trade him during the draft.
Yeah, they'll probably get a 2, and maybe we might get a 5th-round pick as far as some kind of agreement on a package if you trade Sam Darnold. I think that's the best we can hope for. I think because of the inconsistency, missing times, turnovers, teams are taking a risk, to give us that draft compensation he would be giving us. So I don't think we're going to give any more than a 2, maybe a 4th or 5th-round conditional pick for Sam Darnold. That's the best we can hope for. Yeah. Just don't look back.
Yeah, again, I'm a guy that wants to stick with Sam Darnold. I'm a guy that definitely wants to keep him on this football team, but I do understand and respect everyone's take. I do hear it, but like you said, trading down, it's really tough for me to hear people say that they want to take Pitts, and it's because we're so bad at impact positions. We're terrible. We're terrible along our offensive line. We're terrible at wide receivers. We have no pass rusher. People think that we still need corners, which I wouldn't disagree. I don't think Les Austin is the number one. I know people still have questions about Hall and whether he's ready. So there's a lot of questions on this football team, and I get that Pitts is a very solid talent and he could be a very good tight end, but we have no wide receivers. We don't have enough. And I could not see taking a tight end over a guard or wide receiver. I can't see it.
But the Pitts pick is only basically a vintage best player available. Now, if I choose to go on and force it and go for an offensive lineman, obviously I'm going to be much further down, and they're going to be gone anyway. Kyle Pitts is going to be gone. I don't expect him to make it out of the top 10. I'd be shocked if he falls outside the top 10.
Did you just come on my show and use some Mike McCagnon draft advice? Did you just do that?
Oh, yeah, that infamous best player available.
Oh, my God.
Hell no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. To the no, no, no.
But
look, I respect it, but I will not hear draft advice from Mike McCagnon. I won't do it. I won't do it.
Yeah.
I won't do it. No, but I hear you.
Mike McCagnon, his draft work is what really messed us up, taking all those interior defensive linemen, Leonard Williams and Sheldon Richardson. Even though I like Sheldon Richardson coming out of college, that really put us in this predicament. And Jamal Adams, he was a talented safety at 6. We could have traded down, added value. I don't think Joe Douglas is going to do that. I think he's going to trade down. If he doesn't trade down with that top two pick, at some point he'll trade down fairly early to add value. He's going to be with that pick at the back end we got from Seattle, or if he falls, let that pick fall and go on and stay pat at the Seattle pick, he'll probably trade down with that number two pick in the second round. I don't know what our position is, whether it's number 2 or number 3 in the second round. He'll probably move down, add value. You know what he does. I like Joe Douglas's approach to the draft. He understands the draft by trading down, adding value, which is good. Let the board fall to you, and there's still good players to be had. Excellent players. I'm looking at Troy Smith, Wyatt Davis, Darashaw, the other tackle I'm looking at some offensive linemen with that Seattle pick. Now, I can't take an offensive lineman with that number 2 pick unless I take Penei Sewell. But a lot of things, I guess, are pending. It depends on what the new coach is going to want to do. And the new coach I'm anticipating is going to want his quarterback. I'm not saying that some other people out there may not like Sam Darnold, but at least if we trade down and add value, let's say a new coach comes in, he likes Darnold, I said, fine, we roll with Darnold one more year. Joe Douglas should have that discretion to trade down, which I anticipate he will do. He will give us the picks, ammunition we need for 2022. So if Darnold doesn't perform, we'll have all the chips we need to go on and make that deal to package up to move to the top of the draft, probably top 5 pick, and get our quarterback. So either way, we'll get our quarterback, whether it's this year or next year with the big trade. You can bank on that.
And I don't want to go too deep in the draft, but you bring up you always do this every time you call in. You get me to get going to talking about draft or free agency every single time. But a lot of the points that you brought up is something that we talked about in the past as well, and I've brought up is that everybody is really concentrated on the number 2 pick at this point, which is understandable. But let me tell you, there is value to be had in that Seahawks pick at the bottom of the first round. And I think a lot of people are not thinking about that. A lot of people are really solely focused on that pick. But let me tell you what, you can trade down and still get solid capital because you'll be either sitting at the very bottom of the first or the top of the second too. And let me tell you something, a lot of people looking past guys, if this wide receiver class, it's being talked about in the same light that last year's wide receiver class was. Let me tell you, Jefferson with the Vikings, he was picked late in the first round.
That's right.
I think it was 24 or something like that. I think they were in the 20s. And let me tell you, that dude is lighting this damn league up. He is lighting this joint up. I'm telling you, he is killing people. You can still find very solid talent. Mike Pittman as well with the Colts. Mike Pittman in the top of the second. He looks extremely good too. So there's talent to be found. And getting that talent, everyone's focused on getting one player. We need so much. We need to hit at multiple spots. That's why trading down and accumulating picks and accumulating talent is so important to our rebuilding process. Because you brought it up. I mean, you used Mike McCagnon. but it took Mike McCagnon years to ruin this football team, and we're feeling the after effects. Damn it. This is for you, Mike McCagnon. That's for you, Mike McCagnon.
The inability to draft beyond the first round is what really did so much damage.
Go ahead.
Yeah. The inability to draft beyond the first round did a lot of damage. He would hit on the first round pick, but then within a year, 2 years, he would have to release all his other picks, all except the first round picks, the Leonard Williams, the Jamal Adams, the Sheldon Richardsons. Everyone else wound up being released. And that was some bad news, and all those players just couldn't cut it. I don't think that's the case with Joe Douglas. I like Denzel Mims. The undrafted prospect Bryce Hall looks like he's going to be a solid corner. Got Brandon Mann. The only pick I didn't like, obviously, the James Morton pick. I don't know. I think they were. I think he was kind of slipping on that pick when he made that selection. Looking at what was on the board. Peoples-Jones, the wide receiver, was on the board. Curtis Weaver, I think, was on the board, who I wanted badly. We took James Morgan. That's the only disappointment I had. But I don't anticipate that happening again. I think he's going to stay focused.
I'll give you one thing. I honestly, I thought we should have traded, and we talked about this ad nauseum, but if we traded Jamal Adams before that draft, like I wanted us to, we could have CD Lamb right now. And we wouldn't even be talking about him for a wide receiver. We'd have a number one. We'd have CD Lamb. Yeah, we'd have CD Lamb. We'd have Mims. It would have been a lot less issues. But it is what it is. We got the capital now. This is going to be my last question before I let you go. You're always great to speak with. What is your final score prediction for this Jets game against the Patriots?
I'm hoping for a 34-10 score by the Jets. I want to see dominance. I want to see us kick them while they're down. Obviously, they're a shell of what they were when Tom Brady's with them. This is the time now to jump on them and beat them up. You know, like the bully that's always beating you up every day. You're trying to go to school. He just, he'll see you coming, see you at the gate, or around your local neighborhood, will be walking back. Just jump on him and beat him.
Yeah,
jump on him.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Yep. All right, so listen, I want to thank you for calling in, my friend. It was great to speak to you. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you.
Buddy.
Happy New Year's to you and your family, man, and you have a good night.
And you too, buddy, and you take care. It's always a pleasure talking with you. We'll talk again.
Absolutely. You have a good one.
You too.
Phenomenal call. That's my guy from North Carolina, all right? That's my guy from North Carolina. He knows his Jets. And every time he calls in, he gets me to talk about free agency and the damn draft. Every time. Even though I try to, because that's going to be coming up, and we're definitely going to talk about that. Everybody's going to be calling in. We're going to be talking about quarterbacks for quite a while. I'm going to continue this show throughout the year. So, y'all going to see me. Even in the off season, you're going to see me, you know what I'm saying, at least once a week. We're going to talk about the Jets, what we got coming up in the off season. So that's going to continue. But I'm going to start to close the show out. Listen, I want to thank everybody for calling in tonight. Apologize to Blog Talk. They always hate me. I get calls. Blog Talk crashes. It is what it is. They're working on it. Blog Talk is always tripping. But let me tell you, I want to thank everyone for calling in. It was phenomenal. All the new callers that I had, thank you for calling in and sharing your takes tonight. Again, I respect everybody's take. I may not agree with your take. I may not agree. But I do respect it. And I'll give everybody their chance to be listened to. You know what I'm saying? Again, do not call in cursing on my show because I will get you out of here. But as long as you show respect on my show, I'll hear you out. I may not agree, but I'll hear you out. You know what I'm saying? So with that said, I'm the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with folks about this football team. Also, leave me some feedback. I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. I'm also on Twitter as well at YoungJ00. YoungJ000. That's my Twitter handle. Go ahead. Follow me. I'll follow you right back. You're going to troll me, no issues. I am the troll that lives under the bridge, okay? I'll troll you right back. And I'll have my Darnold jersey on, too. I know people think this is going to be his last game ever. We'll see. I'm sticking with my guy, all right? Anybody asks me, I'm telling you right now, I want us to stick with Sam Darnold and trade down, but we'll see what happens. Also, you can hit me up at The Long Beach Joe Show on Twitter. That's the show's Twitter handle. Hit me up. I'm telling you. Talk to me. I'll talk back. I love going back and forth with folks about, this football team and everything that we got going. I'm also on YouTube as well. You can watch the live streams of the show there at The Long Beach Joe Jets. The Long Beach Joe Jets. All right? Hit me up on there. Subscribe. Thumbs up my video. Thumbs up my streams. Comment. I'll go back and forth with you on there as well. And as always, people, when you see me in person, it is arms out, chest open, free hugs for everyone. The hugs are absolutely free. They will cost you absolutely nothing. You know what I'm saying? They will always remain free no matter what anyone tells you. All right? So I want to thank you folks for listening. Thank you folks for calling in. You folks have a good one. Peace out.